Ladies and gentlemen, may I direct your attention to something quite extraordinary.
You are listening to
Kayak Adventure Series.
Kayak Adventure Series. This is where you choose your own adventure. You want to be offshore, be shallow, you want to go up the creek.
You want to have a kayak that is sophisticated, or a kayak that is simple. You get to choose your own adventure.
Oh, looky there. That's a micro bag. Oh, looky there. I saw you in the wild, but you're going to be at the theater tonight. I hope you brought the family. This is going to be wild. Hey, this adventure is going to be amazing. All right, everyone. Speaking of wild, we have Wild Whitehall coming up June 7th and 8th. But today is the live show. How's it going, guys?
Going good. Going good, man. Excited to be here. Excited to talk about this incredible event in Whitehall, Michigan. I'm just looking forward to warmer weather, man. You know, like everybody in the country, it's freezing up here. And just looking forward to warmer weather and fish catching days.
Yeah, it's been awful here. Like, we actually got a freeze, which never happens.
Yeah, that's rare, man. Yeah, I watched these football games are crazy cold. I mean, you had the Chiefs, the Bills. I mean, it just looked insane out there. So wild times here in the winter. But what else is there to do but talk about this kind of stuff? So this is perfect timing for a live stream. People are joining in. Billy, I really care about you and what's going on in your life right now, and Jake and Nicole, and we can blah, blah, blah about it all we want on our own time, but let's get into it. Lines in.
We have a great show. A great show.
Great
the
show.
lineup today is all these guests, when I'm looking at it, if you guys are just logging in, I know we have about 15 people now from what I can see. You're not going to want to miss this one. So I'll let you take over from here, Drew, but this is a good lineup.
Well, yeah, lines in. Let's just go over the lineup real quick. So we're going to have Blake Young, owner of NuCanoe, on the show here today to talk about, they're the presenting sponsor of this event, or the, headline kayak sponsor. Each event is sponsored by a kayak manufacturer, presented by, if you will, and we donate one of their kayaks to the raffle for pediatric cancer through the Punt Foundation. So that's pretty cool at each event. So I don't know what kayak you're going to get a chance to win, but I promise you it'll be awesome. We'll have Blake on to talk about it. And then we also are going to have Dr. Reid, Dr. Mudbug. Let's just call him that, Dr. Mudbug. If you've ever listened to the Smallie Talk podcast, he is incredible. He's a crawfish expert. He's going to be on. And why is he on? He's on because he's one of the seminar speakers on the Friday breakfast seminar series for the Kayak Adventure Series. So at that Whitehall event, you can see his entire seminar there, but he's going to give us a little taste, just a little taste, a little pinch. Let's a pun. Anybody pinch? A little pinch, pincher, crawfish, whatever. All right. It's early. Josh Chrenko, speaking of the Smallie Talk podcast, will be on after Dr. Mudbug, and he's also co-owner of the Achigan brand, the popular Achigan brand, which is, of course, as you guys know, the official brand of the smallmouth bass. Then we will have Stephanie Ware on from the White Lake Area Chamber of Commerce. I did a site visit over there and met with her and Amy, who work at the chamber. They're just incredible, and they are doing some cool things with that town. And trust me, the family is not going to want to miss this Whitehall, Michigan event. And then we were going to have Steve Crooks on. He's the owner of Waterdog Outfitters and a tournament angler himself. Talk about his shop, which is right there by the water in downtown Whitehall. And then we're going to have on Paul and Jeff from the Aggressively Average Anglers. You guys probably have seen them on YouTube and follow them. They're a good follow, and they're exciting. That'll be at 12:05. And then Chris Cantellwell, representing the Michigan Kayak Trail, will be on at 12:10. Steve Kreuger, representing the Topwater Kayak Series, will be on around 12:15. So full lineup here today, guys, and I'm excited about it. We're going to talk with those anglers at the very end of the show a little bit more about the fishing strategy, the stuff that we kind of really love to get into. So we'll be with them 20-30 minutes talking about that fun stuff, but I'm excited. And real quick, let's do some news and notes, and then we'll get Blake into the show.
Didn't have it queued up. All right, news and notes.
News and
notes.
notes.
You'll see the banner in a minute.
Yeah, and the banner will come up here in a second. All right, let's see. So team registration, guys, is now it's easier. We've kind of fixed that. Amanda Brandon at Real Tournament Real Tournament Management has fixed that, where now when you register, which by the way, registration just went live at 11 a.m. for this event, and Dark Horse Tackle is giving away one of their boxes for the very first angler who registers. I'm sure someone has already registered and won that, but who knows? So go register right now because registration is officially open. But if you're registering for a team, it's $75 a person, of course, like it's always been. But what happens is you go in there, you pay separately, and I'll explain to you how you do it real quick. You just register for the team tournament as normal. The team captain on the TourneyX dashboard, you click Create Team button. It's pretty easy. And then select the team, and then create your team, click Create Team. And then you'll be redirected to the TourneyX dashboard. And then the second angler, once the team captain has created the team from the TourneyX dashboard, you just click Join Team button and click the team you want to join. So it's pretty easy, and then your team is complete. So it's pretty easy to get connected with your teammate in that 2-man team division presented by X2. And you guys like that? See, ×2, X2 power. I mean, everything's a silly dad joke pun around here, so get used to it. Then the other thing I want to mention is the 2025 schedule is coming along very nicely, guys. I'm having talks with many tours and departments, have done some site visits. We're pretty excited to have that schedule done way early in advance. You will be surprised how early you will actually get that schedule, you guys. So that is exciting stuff, and it's just going to be some incredible fisheries, and man, I cannot wait to announce that. And then subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe to YouTube and Facebook page, and potentially you guys out there comment. We got your comments. We see them coming in. What about if we started a Discord channel? So we're thinking about that. It kind of is the wave of the future. It's a little bit better than Facebook groups, which aren't as easy to navigate and work, and they're not quite as intuitive as Discord is. So I think that would be pretty cool. The last thing to mention on news and notes is it's kind of going back to last week's show with Shoaly-Palooza, which we'll have to add this to that Shoaly-Palooza webpage. But if you do a lot of research about the area and the shoals, Yellow Jacket Shoals was posted as private for a long time. The water is actually a long story. It was a bad precedent that was set that the fishing in that section in those shoals was private. And if you see that, just know it's not true anymore. That actually got overturned. One of the landowners, shot at somebody in the water or near them to scare them away, and then he got put in jail because of that. And it was a sad situation. It's a long story. But anyway, because of that, they just said, you know what, let's forget the whole thing and allow the fishing in that section. So don't worry about that. It is public and you're allowed to fish it. So that is about it for the news and notes sections. Let's get to the main event. We'll bring in the man first, Blake Young. Hey guys, we're actually ahead of schedule. It's 11:07. I think Blake was supposed to be in here at 11:10. This is crazy. There's no way we keep this up.
This is amazing.
Yeah. Let's bring Blake in because he's already in the green room. And of course, the Wild Whitehall is presented by NuCanoe. We love you guys. Thank you so much for joining us, Blake. And how you doing, man?
I'm doing well. Doing well. Thanks for having me, and thanks for putting this whole kayak adventure series together, man. We're stoked about it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. And, we have an extra minute or two. We're a little early ahead of schedule. So I think we should actually talk, Blake, about when you and I first met and the first time we teamed up for a national kayak series. And it was pretty cool. And your support has always been so appreciative, by myself. And gosh, it was the River Bassin Tournament Trail, which a lot of people were prodding me like, man, start River Bassin back. And you got to do something like that again so we can really kayak fish again in some of these events. Those guys that want to kayak fish, which we accept, of course, all styles of kayak fishing. And we think they're equally respected, and we celebrate the diversity of the ones that are really mini boats, you know what I mean? And the ones that want to do the simple, lightweight sort of just throw and go off the side of a bridge or a wildlife management area or canoe and kayak access. But either way, NuCanoe has a product for all of that. You can build it up how you want. It's a very blank canvas, and I really do think it was cool that you guys were one of the first ones that teamed up with me and kind of showed the precedent and started the precedent that you can have multiple manufacturers be a part of something, and we're better and stronger, I think, together. And that was the old River Bassin Tournament Trail, and I remember showing off NuCanoes in the Bass Pro Shops parking lot, and it was pretty cool.
Man. I think that was Charlotte where I first met you, wasn't it? The Bass Pro in Charlotte?
I think so. I think it was
there.
What
was that, 2011, 2012?
It was a long time ago. I had a lot less grays. I remember that, and no kids.
Or didn't we all, man? Yeah.
You probably with the same. So you have like 3 kids now, right?
Yeah, we got 3.
Yeah.
10, 8, and 4 or 5 now. Jeez, 10, 8,
Yeah,
and 5.
that's wild.
Yeah, it is wild, man. It was, but it's a fun adventure. But I know my wife still remembers that event when we went down there. I mean, she was still kind of getting oriented, all the NuCanoe stuff and what the heck I did. We had just gotten married, but yeah, it was a good time, man. And that river bassin was a fun trail while it lasted.
Yeah, for sure. And the vibes are the same with this. And the only reason I didn't start river bassin again was just because it's hard to reschedule if you have a flood. It's hard to reschedule a national event. So, and I really did want to celebrate the diversity of everyone's style. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Billy's got that cool intro. You may have been listening. I don't know, and we always talk about choose your own adventure. So it's pretty cool that you can choose your own adventure with the watercraft and motors and electronics or not, and choose your own adventure with lakes, or creeks or pond. Some ponds, lakes, creeks, and rivers in this. So it's kind of like, and we'll never have to cancel an event because there will always be safe water and bounds to fish. But NuCanoe, when I first met you, you were living in the Northwest, and I'm sure you're still a Seahawks fan, but you're up there and now you've moved to sunny Florida. Isn't that correct? Like the Panhandle somewhere. Is that right?
Yeah, we're in Santa Rosa Beach. So in the Panhandle, a little bit west of Panama City. Really enjoy it here. It's a beautiful place, although it was a balmy 22 degrees this morning when I was taking the kids to school, but still sunny. Back in Bellingham, I think they got 5 or 6 inches of snow overnight, which is not normal, but man, it's been cold back there too. So,
dude,
Florida living's been good.
I was literally just in your area. Like right there. We were shooting something there, kind of in that area. So I should have hit you up, but we were kind of busy. But I love it over there. Those spring-fed. You got some spring-fed stuff nearby, some Blackwater stuff, the clear blue water. It's awesome, and you're close enough to join us at Shoaly-Palooza if you can. Bring the whole family. Right. It's gonna be a blast. They got the whole kids zone, the live music, the games. It's gonna be a blast. But oh, look at this. Dustin Hoy, of course, over there at Raccoon Creek Outfitters, also a NuCanoe dealer, I must say.
What's up, Dustin?
So first, you got that Dark Horse tackle box, it looks like. So that's exciting. Dustin, I think, is going to all the events. That he has put his chips all in. He's all about the adventure. So, but let's talk about, while we have you on here, we definitely want to give the viewers and the listeners here a little bit of a breakdown on the NuCanoe products. I've seen a lot of them. We've got so many good friends. Craig Dives, good buddy of mine, fishes out of them and just loves them, creates incredible content. And let's hear what sort of your spiel on the main boats and how you kind of see them fitting into being a very good, versatile platform for the Kayak Adventure Series.
Yeah, definitely, man. I mean, going way back to like when we first connected, our boats were always wider. They were more stable. They were more open. The market has really moved in our direction in some pace, some sense has gone past us, like in size and weight of kayaks and just, the bulk. But man, when we were getting going, back in those river bassin days, like at 41 inches wide, our kayaks were kind of the outlier. Like, wow,
you were ahead of your time, dude. You were way ahead of your time.
Like, what are you going to do with that? Can you even paddle it? And, fast forward to today and all of our models have evolved and we've, brought out, a lot of new ones, but they're all still maintain that kind of customizable open deck, more of a blank slate that you can customize. All of them can be set up for pedal, paddle, or power. And I mean, everybody's got a pedal kayak or a motorized kayak now, but so many of those are designed specifically for that. And there's no way that you'd want to go compete in an event or spend the day out on the water and with a paddle in a lot of the other kayaks. So with any of our kayaks, you can grab a paddle and have an awesome day on the water, or you can hook up the pivot drive for pedals or drop a motor off the bow or the transom and, and away you go. So you still really have all the option because each of our kayaks is designed, to paddle first and foremost.
Yeah. I love that seat, by the way. Everyone always talks about your seat. It's swivel, or do all of them swivel? Not all of them, but many of them swivel, correct?
Yeah, all of them can. So our models, we divide them up into 2 series. We got the Performance Series, which is the Flint and the Pursuit. Both of those have the Fusion seat, but the 360 swivel is not standard, but can be added.
Right.
Now, those models are a little bit narrower at 33 and 35 inches. They are very stable, but they weren't designed first and foremost for stability. So they're designed for excellent performance on the water. The Pursuit is a heck of a boat, either to paddle or to put a motor on. It's super efficient, moves really well through the water. The Flint's an awesome grab and go boat or river boat.
It is.
And then on the platform side, which is kind of, what we're known for, the big, stable, high weight capacity models. We have the Frontier 12 and the F10, and then the Unlimited, which came out about 2 years ago. And that's those boats all have the 360 fusion seat. You sit higher up, so more like sitting on a small chair rather than on the, sitting on the deck. And man, yeah, that seat is cool. And you could, it's an awesome seat just for sitting in. But then the ability to, rotate side to side, even if it's 45 degrees, just to be able to, kind of get access to the full side of your boat or hit all your spots that you want to cast to.
Absolutely.
Reach around and get to the gear behind you.
It does help.
It's one of those things, man. A lot of people say I never really thought about it, but once I tried it, couldn't go back.
It's true. And the older you get, the older we're getting, it's kind of nice to have that little bit of a turn. So that's great. And you mentioned the Flint, which I know we're talking about Whitehall, Michigan here at this event, but it is cool that you guys have that boat named after the Flint River where we will be at stop number 1. So that's pretty cool. I hope, we can't control it and, obviously, but in a perfect world, it's exciting. And we would love to see somebody do really well in a boat that is from one of our sponsors, so it'd be really cool to see someone, catch shoal bass and do really good and cash a check in that, Shoaly Palooza event, the first one. But in terms of Michigan, we're going to have Steve Crooks on later, well, obviously,
Yes.
Your dealers, that's right there in Whitehall. Now, guys, Waterdog Outfitters is an amazing shop. I went there and visited it, and I was blown away. And they're right by the park where we're going to have the kayak demos and the festival for that event. So it's pretty cool. He's going to be there with all of the boats you just mentioned for people to demo. We'll have some other boats there as well from some of the other sponsors, kayak manufacturer sponsors. But that's an event we really are proud of. And I know Steve's excited. He's going to talk about it. But you guys can get out there, test out that swivel seat, test out, the bigger versions if you want, like the, like you said, well, the Unlimited is kind of like, that's the one that's kind of medium, middle kind of size, right? That you guys have.
It's 12'6" in length and 41 inches wide. So it basically is an evolution of the Frontier 12.
Yeah, it's an evolution of the Frontier. That's been the one that's a little bit newer, like you said, a couple years old, and it's been very popular. I've seen some really cool, customized setups for that one. So you guys go check them out. Paddle the Flint is a great little throw and go, like you said. And I'm just excited. I don't know if you will be able to make that event or not, or if you're just going to maybe, make one or whatever. But either way, Steve will be there to represent NuCanoe, and we'll get folks in some boats. Maybe you guys have somebody else up there that can be there, but
we'll definitely get some of our team guys out. And man, if I can make it up there, I'd love to. I know that we've all in family would love to get up to Michigan, especially that time of year. So that'd be killer.
Oh,
and I know Steve's got a pretty sweet Unlimited build he's been working on the past year, really getting it built out, fine tuned and stuff. So
we'll show that off.
If you're up in that area, I'm sure he'll be happy to show that off to you.
Yeah, we will show it off for sure. But I'm excited to see you at one of the events and just be partnering with you again. And the other guys just bailed out, and it's just you and I here. It felt like I was on a double date all of a sudden when they pulled out. We just sort of got put together here. But I know we all appreciate you and NuCanoe and what you guys are doing, and just your belief, quite frankly, in what I'm doing. It's just all about how you and I think, remember those early days with the sport. It's about the fun and the family and getting together and laughing around the campfire, or in this case, the festival. And that's what we're trying to really bring back, is the ability to, have these fun sort of events and adventure and explore, which is why I and so many people got into kayak fishing and these lightweight, boats that can drag over logs and put in at all these cool places. And we love what it's become, and that it's expanded the other direction. And now just excited to be back with you guys to help support this entire event presented by GoPro, the whole series, and particularly Whitehall from NuCanoe. And Blake, thanks so much for your time. Go check them out. NuCanoe.com, I assume, is the website.
Yes.
NuCanoe.com. I am positive there's a dealer close to every one of you guys watching. And we will see you, I guess, throughout the year, man. Thanks for your time.
All right. Thanks, Drew. Appreciate being on here. And thanks for doing this event, man.
Absolutely.
Hey, man. Blake, real quick. He said Seahawks, and I panicked. That's why I left.
Yeah.
I panicked.
It's all right, man. We didn't make it much. I think we were both out at the same time. I know you got the better of us this year when we played Bengals, but
we'll see what happens. The coaching carousel is going to be interesting. Carroll's gone, like Belichick. It's just been a crazy whirlwind. We'll see what happens.
We lost. the Huskies lost the national championship.
Yeah.
And the Seahawks both lost their coaches in about 3 days. So,
yeah,
Pacific Northwest football world is going to be a little bit different going forward.
Yeah, that was rough, and all the Pac-12 changes and everything. It's pretty wild, but
Yeah.
all right. Well, we will talk about it over some food and a good time at Chollipalooza or Whitehall, whichever event we see you at, Blake. And catch you later, man.
All right. Thanks, guys.
See you. Bye. All right. Wow, we are staying right on schedule.
I tried my best to knock us off schedule, but we're still doing good.
Yeah, we're doing all right, man. We're doing good. So I'm sure some comments are coming in. Haven't had a chance to read them, but you can post up anything at any time.
I definitely feel like NuCanoe is like one of those brands that like every dealer carries these days. They're everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. They are. I mean, it's just a cool boat. I mean, it's Blake talked about it. He's been around for a long time, ever since those, or I don't know what year he actually started it, but even like teaming up with us, they've been around for a while. And that says something. You just don't stick around for a while with that, for no reason or for not being a good quality product. And
right.
I know for a fact that, their company and their ethics and just everything they have going for them is very, very much like all of us here and everybody that's going to be at these Kayak Adventure Series events. So appreciate those guys. And we will push all of our anglers for sure to support anyone who's supporting us. Cause it's just, I mean, this nice family, basically is what it is. And if your uncle started a, whatever, assuming he has a good uncle, a restaurant, you'd go eat at his restaurant, you'd support him. If he was a plumber, you'd call him, and use him. And that's what we're doing here with all the anglers. We're supporting all those that are part of our family, and they're buying into what we're doing and supporting us. So we appreciate it. Next, we're going to head to Reid, Morehouse, Dr. Mudbug. He is already in the queue. Let's bring him in. What up, Dr. Mudbug? How's it going?
Hey, gentlemen. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Freezing.
Yeah, it's definitely cold here. I'm in Indianapolis, so we're going to get up into the 20s today, which is better than the past negative temps a few days ago. So warming trend here.
I think we'll be 21 maybe today, but I will be at the Indianapolis Sports Show, by the way. So maybe I'll see you there if you stop by for that one. I think myself and a few other kayak anglers will be doing some speaking in a kayak panel. So maybe I'll see you there. But hey, let's get right into it, man. You're known for this crawfish. We're talking about cold weather. I'll just go ahead and throw this out. What do crawfish do when it gets really cold? Do they basically just hibernate? And what's the deal?
Yeah, man, when it's this cold outside right now, especially once late fall hits, these things start burrowing into their substrates, whether it's going to be mud or rocks or anything, and they sit still. The females have mainly been bred at that point, so they're getting all the eggs and everything prepared, and they are sitting as still as possible in that substrate.
So they're kind of like a gator goes in the mud, you know what I mean? Like some reptile. And the reason why we're talking to you today about the crawfish is some people who didn't get the intro to this show might feel like this is random. Why do we all of a sudden just talk about a Whitehall, Michigan event? Now we're talking about crawfish. Well, you're going to be at that event doing a seminar, a 45-minute to, hour somewhere in there, like seminar on crawfish. And of course, guys, I've never seen some chart, but I would assume that crawfish is up there, if not one or two in the top 2 or 3 for obviously the prey of all the black bass species. I mean, what do you think? Do you think this is like the most common food for bass? I mean, obviously other fish is going to be right up there into the top 2, but I mean, do you have any studies that you know about, or does it depend on the fishery itself?
Yes to all of those answers or all those questions right off the bat. So yeah, it really depends on the fishery itself. We've got a few streams here in Indiana that crawfish is by far the dominant prey source for all the smallmouth bass, spotted bass, and any largemouth that end up into these systems. There's a few other streams where the crawfish population isn't strong, so it's all bait fish oriented, and that really can determine from a fishing standpoint what type of profile and presentation you're going to be using to try to target those larger bass in those systems. But yeah, crawfish pretty much throughout the Midwest is up there as one of the top 3, I would say, maybe even top 2 prey sources for any black bass, no matter what the situation is.
Yeah, that's interesting, man, because these lakes are getting some of them have herring in it now, and herring
Yeah.
with a G. Yes, I said it right. I always get confused and I say that. I'm like, wait, but yeah. So, and then other, just migratory, bait fit your shad and things like that, just school up out in the middle. I wonder, and maybe you have some insight on this, how does a bass, because some of them the exact same species, largemouth or Alabama bass, spotted bass, whatever you want to call them, smallmouth, some of them just choose a life in the open ocean, if you will, the open water, chasing those. And some of them, no, I'm going to eat these crawfish and bluegill around, shallower water, and, frogs, amphibians, anything else like that. I wonder, like, if you have any insight on what in the world, or do some just go between the two? Like, what makes them decide how to live their life? And it's just interesting to me how they just sort of, this is kind of what I'm doing,
Yeah, you'll definitely see transitions, whether it's a riverine stream system or an open lake system, overall of what these bass are doing certain times of the year. So, for instance, this will be probably relevant to lakes and streams. Crayfish go through a major, what's considered predator swamping, to where all of the females will basically lay eggs at the exact same time. Within a 5-week period, those eggs hatch, and then those small crayfish are on their own. And through all of that, it's the aspect of, if we drop all of our offspring at the exact same time, yes, they're going to get eaten up. Mortalities are going to be high, but there's going to be a large portion that really survives to keep that population maintained throughout the time. So that's considered predator swamping. I will get into more of that in Whitehall come June when I give that seminar up there. Other species of animals do that also, but it makes sense if you think about it versus spawning throughout the entire year, or
Right.
mating throughout the entire year, and then you get picked off throughout the entire year. So you'll see instances basically up, in the Indianapolis area, mid-June timeframe. Almost every smallmouth bass in these creek systems will be looking down at the substrate, not care if fish swim by them. They'll be targeting crayfish for about a 2-week period, and then they'll transition back to crayfish and other forage fish species throughout that time. So it's very likely that happens in lakes also.
Right.
And everything's dropping all of their offspring off. A lot of those bass move up into those shallow, rockier areas where the crays are, and then move back off once that 2-week period's over. So a lot of transition.
Well, do you think, another quick question, we're not going to give up all the stuff here. You guys will have to come to the seminar to learn more, but do you think, I'm just curious about this, that there's, I don't know if it's an old wives' tale, whatever you want to call it. People always say, well, bass really want to eat this smaller crayfish because they're softer. Is there truth to a bass not really wanting to eat that big, full-size adult, crayfish or crawfish? What do you say, by the way, crawfish or crayfish?
Crayfish is a scientific term. I say crawfish, mudbugs,
Yeah, crawfish.
I go through the whole gamut of answers on that.
Yeah, of course you say mudbug.
Yeah, you got the hat on.
I know. We need to make
guys.
we got to make a hat or shirt for that event that people can buy, for a Mudbug shirt.
I'm sure Josh will make one for you.
Yeah, Josh will get it. Actually, he's working on some designs now, so that's perfect. So Achigan can handle that for that event. You can get the custom Dr. Mudbug shirt. but yeah, so small, youth, juvenile, whatever you want to call them, smaller crawfish, as opposed to those bigger adults that are maybe a little bit harder shells. Do they care? Because I just feel like they probably don't care. They just go after.
So they care to a certain point. It's hard to when a crawfish is sitting like this at you and you're trying to bite it. You've got the pinchers right there in your face. So throughout the seasons, all of these crawfish will end up going through that molting process to where they're growing. They release their exoskeletons, and then at that point is where you get the soft crawl component that you see at a lot of bait shops and things like that. When they're in the soft crawl position, they've got about 48 to 72 hours before those shells harden back up, and they're vulnerable to everything. So from a bass standpoint, I would rather eat something large to spend my energy to get the return on that versus a bunch of smaller things. So
and they don't lose those pinchers at all in that process, right? They don't lose those. Okay.
Correct. Yeah, it's just like any other insect that's out there that they grow enough and they got to get rid of that hard shell so they can keep growing bigger.
So are you saying it's soft, like their body's soft and they mold, kind of like a Elastec plastic from Z-Man soft, like just about that consistency probably?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Soft enough you can squish it with your fingers.
Yeah, perfect. All right, it's a perfect replica. Z-Man's a sponsor of the series, and me personally, and I love their Elastec plastic, and particularly, which I'm sure you've seen, the TRD crawls they make, and then the Pro crawls, which I personally like the Pro crawl size. It's a little bit bigger, but it's still not like that giant where, even if that theory is true that they want to avoid the biggest crawfish, I like that pro crawl size. I still think it's a nice bite-sized morsel for a bass. Plus, like you said, it's a little bit bigger than the smaller one, so they want to expend their energy and get more back. So that's why I kind of like that pro crawl size. So
and crawl size throughout the Midwest United States ranges from an inch and a half as a full-grown adult all the way up to about 12 inches as a full-grown adult. So there's with over 700 species worldwide, the size differences are tremendous when it comes to crawfish.
Yeah, Table Rock has got some giant crawfish on it, like giant, and they're blue too, which is crazy.
Yeah,
that is wild. The coloration that changes throughout. You said 700 species, so that's pretty crazy. So you probably have a map or some sort of chart where all these live and exist, and you kind of know the colorations of all these crawfish, right? So I think that's something that'd be cool to. I'm sure you show that in your seminar, and people can sort of glean from that what you will in terms of picking your match the hatch color for the fishery that you're going to be in, for sure. But in general, though, I mean, like, how many species might be in one? Let's take a Table Rock. That's a good example, Jake. How many different crawfish species would be in one sort of body of water like that? I mean, is it a few or like?
The average, I would say, across the United States would be probably 4 to 7 species within one system. I mean, there's species that live solely on terrestrial ground and only burrow down into the water as needed. You'll never actually find them in a lake or stream. They're always underground. So it's variable. But 4 to 7.
They do live on the ground some as well. That's in some crawfish. I noticed because my parents are from like East Texas, like Beaumont, around the the Sabine River.
Yep.
And you see crawfish holes, in that sort of like brackish water there. They have the ground is so soft, you all of a sudden see this little mound, and there's just crawfish holes, like just on everywhere, like in the grass in people's yards. So they're all over. So are those crawfish living in just purely on the land, or are they living somewhat in water, or they're digging down to water and their hole is actually wet? I mean, what's the deal with those kind of crawfish?
Yeah, so you get 3 different ecomorphs: the primary burrowers, secondaries, and tertiary. The primary is where you see a lot of those chimneys coming up from the ground. They burrow down to the water table, and that's it. They will rarely leave that hole except for on a warm, wet night to either find some extra food that doesn't fall in the hole or find a mate. And their life is literally in that hole.
That's wild.
That's wild.
Yeah. And then there's some that live in streams the entire time too. And then they only burrow in the substrate with low water or temperature changes. So
yeah. You guys want to pull Aaron's comment back up?
Yeah.
And we can have Dr. Mudbug answer this. He said, Aaron says, I've read conflicting information on the nutritional value of crayfish to bass. Which is it? Low nutritional value or high compared to baitfish?
So that's a good question overall. It really depends on the diet of that crayfish. So in general, they're omnivores. They're not picky about what they eat. And if they're eating a lot of leaf litter as their main food source, you're not going to get that much nutritional value moving up the food chain. You get more nitrogen than anything versus the phosphorus or, other sorts of nutrients. If the crayfish, for some reason, have a high diet of other fish or invertebrates where you get different phosphorus and nitrogen ratios within that crayfish itself, then you start getting higher food source, higher content food source for those bass moving up. And it's the same thing with fish too. You get fish that do a little bit better job of transforming phytoplankton into actual muscle mass. But each, if you look at the difference of a sculpin versus, say, a golden shiner or something along those lines, you get way different nutritional values between those two species of fish also based off of their diets.
Yeah.
So it'll range.
No, that's good answer and good talking to you. I'm going to leave you on for 1 second. And Aaron, by the way, that one was for free, but come to the seminar. Again, we still need to make up our mind if we're going to charge like $40 and include the breakfast. But yeah, come to the seminar. It'll be well worth the cost. You're going to learn a ton about this, like we said, top 1 or 2, 3, praise for the bass. So you're going to learn a ton about it at that event in Whitehall, Michigan. And before I let you go, I'm going to bring on our next guest so you guys can banter and say hey, because you know this guy well.
Yeah.
Mr. Achigan brand himself, Smallie Talk Podcast, Susquehanna, Bassmaster tournament winner. There's all kinds of titles of this guy. Josh Chrenko, what's up, dude?
What's up, boys? How's it going?
Just talking to Mudbug here, learning a bunch of cool stuff about the crawfish, which, you guys have had him on. So go back and listen to that podcast too from Smallie Talk. But he's bringing new stuff to the seminar at Wild Whitehall. So just because you go back and listen to the Smallie Talk podcast doesn't mean you can skip the seminar for Whitehall, Michigan. But yeah, and we need you to make a shirt, by the way.
This man's knowledge base is much deeper than a couple episodes of Smallie Talk, because Chris and I tend to take over on some of those episodes. There's a lot of stupidity going on in those podcasts. So, but definitely some nuggets of knowledge in there. And obviously, in the 5-10 minutes he's been on here, you guys have seen and heard some of the information. Really, you aren't going to get that from anywhere else. This guy is like, I'm not trying to pump him up, because he already has a big head, in general. But like this guy, like, you hear stuff from him that, like, you're just not going to hear anywhere else. The dude has a PhD in crawfish studies. Like, who in the world else can say that? So yeah. And, as a smallmouth guy, like, that's about as, like, valuable as any information you're gonna get. So yeah.
Can we get a Dr. Mudbug shirt or hat or something? I mean, he's got that one, but can we get a new Achigan? Like, maybe that could be one of the
or
something.
Is that hat one of a kind?
Yeah.
No. That's a hat. We have a whole Mudbug series. So
oh, really?
Yeah, one of my business partners, the guy that does a lot of the artwork, he's like a ecologist, and he loves, like, forage and science and all that. And I think we have like 5 different crawfish designs. I don't even know how it turned into that. I think we have as many as we have smallmouth designs. So
You're welcome.
Yeah. Reid has influenced us a lot. But,
I kind of dig it.
Yeah, it's a cool. We literally have like 5 different crawfish designs. So yeah, Reid is the man, though, no doubt.
And you'll have those designs at the event there in Whitehall. So you guys can, Achigan, you're one of our partners for apparel. So, you guys will have it all there. And if you guys are interested in getting that, you can come to Whitehall, Michigan and buy it. And I believe, I could be wrong on this, Josh, and you're the one to ask, but you guys will have a representative or maybe a way to potentially even be at most of the events, right? To sell some of the stuff and be a part of whichever ones you can, and have a little easy up there selling your Achigan brand, which is the official brand of the smallmouth bass, which we mentioned earlier. But
yeah,
is that correct?
I think, I don't know. I know we're going to make all of them, but I think the ones that I have in mind definitely are Michigan. Obviously, I want to be there. And then the Wisconsin one, which is going to be big time. And then obviously Susquehanna, those 3 events to me are what, like, kind of stick out. I don't know, what we'll be able to make, but we'll be there to as many as we can get to, for sure. So
yeah, nice, very nice. And hey, Reid, before we let you go, you're also an angler too, right? I mean, you're not just this crawfish expert; you also fish, right?
Yeah, as much as I possibly can. Life keeps me
Okay.
busy, but yeah, I'm on the water. I mean, I'm on the water for my job every single day too. So there's always a fishing pole within reach.
Right. Perfect. And the reason I wanted to mention that is because obviously, with you being an angler, your seminar is going to be catered towards, because you understand how the information that you know about crawfish translate to helping the anglers learn more about it so they can essentially catch more bass, in particular with crawfish mimicking baits. So I want to bring that up just so people know you're not just going to sit there and dump a bunch of knowledge about crawfish and don't understand the connection to the angler. So Reid, we thank you so much for your time, Dr. Mudbug, and we will see you in Michigan for Wild Whitehall.
Yep, and I'll get back with you if I can get any of those other dates for you.
All right, yeah, perfect. Thanks.
Thanks, gentlemen.
All right, see you.
Hey, Drew, real quick, we don't have time to go through all this because we'll go off the rails. But in the comments, there's a lot about Josh's glasses. So he's kind of blowing up in our chat, good and bad.
Oh,
and these people might be friends. They might be friends. Some people came to your defense, and so it was fun to read. So go back and read the comments later, or don't.
I'm gonna tell you right now. I'll come to Josh's defense a little bit. you win a Bassmaster tournament, you can wear whatever you want. Okay. So
Well,
you guys all
first of
talking.
all, I just pulled up the comments and that one of them said the sunglasses are too big for my head. Let me tell you something. I have a massive melon, dude. There is no sunglasses on the face of this earth. It's too big for my head. So we got the XL frames from Smith. So
Oh yeah.
I only roll with XL. So but I'll take that as a compliment. If somebody's saying something's too big for my head, I've never heard that before. So hey. We'll
Yeah,
take it.
compliment. Hey, shout out to Smith, little sponsor shout out there. Smith Optics. They do make the XLs and all their glasses, which is actually funny because I wear the opposite. I wear the slims because they make a version of their glasses like the low down slim. I have to wear the slim because I've got a small head. So anyway, let's get off that topic here. We can go on forever like you're saying, but I like it. So what's next here? Let's talk to Josh about. So Achigan is the official brand of the smallmouth bass. You guys have lots of cool designs. Now, where can folks go find your merchandise and all the apparel and buy it? I assume it's like Achigan.com or something, but you tell us the spiel.
Yeah. So as far as our website goes, we're e-commerce brand. We're actually doing our first show coming up here in about a week at the East Tennessee Fishing Show, which we're pretty excited. It'll be a precursor for all the Kayak Adventure Series stuff that we do because we had to obviously get banners and displays and all that stuff. So we'll be set up for that. But you can find us really achiganbrand.com. It's spelled Achigan, achiganbrand.com. And that word is got a lot of kind of layers to it, but it's really at its core, it's Ojibwe, which is a native tongue of the Algonquin tribe, and it is what they used to call smallmouth. It translates to one which fights, and I think anybody who's caught a smallmouth would understand why that they would translate to that for smallmouth. So, but yeah, that's how you can find us.
Yeah, awesome, man. Awesome. And then the other reason, I mean, you're on here for multiple reasons, but another reason we have you on is definitely we want to talk about, or just mention, we already did, but you guys go check them out. Smallie Talk podcast. You guys cut it up really well, but also slide in a lot of really, really good information about catching smallmouth and guests. And, I don't know, man, that you want to mention anything about it? I think that pretty much covers, but you want to mention anything about it? You're Chris.
Yeah, I'm a smallmouth nut, and my buddy Chris, he's the co-host of Smallie Talk. We started that about 5 years ago, and we're basically about 80% banter, 20% fishing content. So that's usually what our show consists of. You guys are no stranger to banter. Anything with Drew on it is going to be a lot of banter. So but yeah, we're on all the major platforms. You can look us up. As it relates to this event, though, we have done a lot of episodes about some of the fisheries around this area. So I'm not going to give a specific episode number because I have no idea which one it is. But there's definitely some content out there about some waterways that are within bounds of this event. So
sweet, man. And that's the last thing I was going to touch on. Perfect transition. It's almost like you've done this before. Yeah. So how excited were you when you saw that Whitehall, Michigan, and knowing those rivers and lakes that we have in bounds for this event, when you saw them, how excited were you about this event? And tell us a little bit about the water. Don't give away too much, of course, but I know you fished it, a little bit. So
yeah. And I'm not, to be honest with you, I gave up trying to hide my spots a long time ago. Like, I'm not from Michigan, but we're, about 4 hours or so from being in bounds for this event. So I always call this area, in particular, I fish the Muskegon River. It's a really super long river that flows into Lake Michigan. So anybody who's going to be doing map study on this is going to know that's in play. I don't know if it has a chance of winning. I know that's probably where all fish. But this is a really unique place in the fact that you have Lake Michigan there. You have all these tributaries that flow into Lake Michigan. You have all these inland lakes that are, were carved out by the glaciers that are like close to, that waterway. And because they all connect to Lake Michigan, you get all this like huge diversity of species of lake run fish that run up into these rivers. And it's a, like, for me, like, you know, it's the only place where I've been that like I'll be smallmouth fishing and I'll spook a, you know, a king salmon or a steelhead or something. Like, it's like you don't see that very often, and it's really cool. You know, probably my biggest claim to fame is I caught the you know, orange smallmouth, gold smallmouth, whatever you want to call it. It was a xanthistic smallmouth, and it made its rounds. I was, you know, it was in all kinds of magazines and, you know, news articles and stuff. And that was caught in the Muskegon River. So that, you know, that was a really cool thing. And there are other orange smallmouth that were caught in that river, like around that same time. So there's some sort of genetic line of xanthistic smallmouth in that river. I think you guys should do some kind of bonus if somebody catches one of those. I think there should be some kind of like orange smallmouth award, because that would be pretty cool.
That would be
happens,
cool.
so.
I mean, yeah, that's a good idea. Do some sort of bonus for that.
Yeah,
that'd be a heck of a bounty to try
that
to
would
find
be.
one of those.
Yeah,
It
was
well,
pretty wild.
It actually proves something to me. So, you know, we talk about, and I don't know, man, we talk about color a lot as fishermen, you know what I mean? And it's kind of like, you know, does color matter? Does it not? But at the same time, I feel like action matters the most, because we all know what will happen if you throw a goldfish in a pond or a river or a lake that has
Gets
no
eaten.
Goldfish. Darn right, it gets eaten like that.
Yeah.
So I think action is more important than color. Color could even, if they're complete opposite and not a normal natural color, it could even help them stand out to get eaten even quicker and easier. So it's weird, because on the one hand, we're like talking to Dr. Mudbug about, let's find out all the crawfish and the colors and match the hatch. But at the same time, it's just a weird sort of thing with fishermen. Like, does it really matter? Is it the action? But I still prefer, from a mental standpoint, I want to match the hatch. You know what I mean? That's just like my goal. But I don't know, man. Orange, I'm sure the baby orange smallmouth get eaten for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say, is the fact that smallmouth got big enough is actually like crazy, because it stands out so much more. Not to mention, like, it's not even other fish, like birds that are up top can like look down and they see like, oh, there he is. He's not hiding in the rocks, right? Like,
Yep. And there's that smallmouth.
Yeah, and there's no editing on those pictures. Like, it was so bright. It was like almost like neon orange.
Are we sure that smallmouth's mom didn't have a fling with a goldfish?
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a lot of those comments over the months that was making its rounds about, you know, that being a hybrid. It's hilarious when you get something that goes mainstream like that. All the like uninformed people that comment on stuff like that, it was pretty entertaining.
This guy knows right here. There was a little goose incident. Trust me, I know.
Oh, I'm sure.
All the uninformed comments I've heard about the goose attack. So, anyway, 50% of the panel has had a crazy viral thing. So, Billy, Jake, you got to figure out what's going to happen to you. What's going to happen on the water to you guys? That
I released a snakehead when I was down there with Dustin Hoy fishing. And I was like, it was cool. And it was just my regular YouTube video or whatever. And I was roasted. We're calling the Florida.
Oh, yeah.
You have to kill it. It was fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's going to matter, that one. I mean, like, I mean, they're in there, man. It's over.
Yeah. I said I had to let it go so it would grow. How's it going to get to 42 inches if I don't let it go? So I had to go with it.
I had a clip last year of a largemouth eating a duck, and it wasn't like a duck lean. It was like, you know, those little like wood ducks that are like real small. I don't know what the scientific name is, but like I had a largemouth come up and eat the duck right in front of me, and like he was with another duck, and the other duck's like looking around like, where'd he go? And then he realized that the fish ate him. So
I do remember that clip, actually. Yeah, that was a good one too. That was and that's pretty wild what bass will eat for sure. And Josh, we look forward to seeing you, man, up in Whitehall with us for the Wild Whitehall event, and appreciate your time and all the information you're able to share. And we will catch you later. Thanks, buddy, for the time. Anything else you want to say before you take off here today?
You know, we'll probably do an episode leading up to that to kind of like talk about, maybe have someone on from the area that can talk a little bit about that. And then that time of year is going to be very interesting, because that's like really, I mean, if I had to guess, like smallmouth wise, that's going to be like just after the fish are off beds. Like it's going to be like really, really close to there. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens during that. I've never been up there that exact time. I've been close to there around that time, but it's going to be really interesting to see how different the rivers and the lakes play into it. It's like
Right.
very, very, very. It'll be super cool to see how all the results play out and who wins where. It's going to be a puzzle to solve.
It
no
is. There's
doubt.
like 10 or 11 lakes in play. We're highlighting a lot of these smaller lakes. Your Bass Lake over there, Duck. There's a lot of them. I can't remember them all, but we'll pull them up here later when we talk to the anglers. And like you said, all those rivers and all the bigger lakes. Your White Lake, Muskegon. I mean, it could be one any way with largemouth or smallmouth or a mix between the two. It's going to be crazy. And because we have all that water in bounds, there's a more likelihood you guys out there, and that's the whole point of this, will have a chance to find a spot where you're more potentially alone, right? Which we all love that. No one's ever complained about being alone on tournament day, right? Have the water all to themselves. And also hold 200, 300, 400 people. So let's make this big and fun and just a big festival and party. And Josh, you're all about that, we know. So we will see you there. Thanks, man.
Take it easy, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, see ya.
See ya.
All right, man. That was good. Very informative, and I cannot wait to find out who he gets on the Smallie Talk podcast. And we'll of course do more, podcasts talking a little bit more to some of the anglers, but definitely check out that podcast for the guest he has on when he sort of previews and some of that water that's in bounds, probably like you said, maybe a month before the event. But next year, let's see.
Drew,
What's up?
I was going to say shout out to Smallie Games too.
That's true.
Once you're on their website, the Achigan website, just look for Smallie Games. It's a cool little, honor system, fun board game that you can play throughout the year. So check that out too.
Yeah, and their clothes are like top notch because Josh gave me a hoodie when we were at Susky. It has to be my favorite hoodie.
It's great. I love it.
Yeah, it was so good that I actually just ordered another while we were talking with the Mudbug hat. So
nice. If I was smart, I would have put my Achigan hoodie on, but I was just not.
Yeah, I was sitting here thinking like, man, why didn't I put that on? Always a good excuse to wear it because it's so comfortable. So
yeah,
I got my Nike hoodie from Kohl's. Shout out to Kohl's. They're not a sponsor.
No free ads. No free ads. Kohl's. No. Let's bring on Stephanie from the White Lake area chamber. What's up, Stephanie?
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, glad you're able to make it. So, man, I went to your, area, we're calling it the White Lake area. That's your chamber, and that's Whitehall and Montague, the sort of adjacent town right across the river there, the White River. And I was blown away. Like I'll be honest with you, I'm from, I grew up in the South. We've talked about that. And now that I live up a little further north in Northeast Ohio, and the national tournaments I fish have gotten me to explore more northern fisheries and northern towns. I am like blown away with how incredible the fishing is up north in terms of the numbers of fish we catch, and surprisingly, the size is impressive in the area. Now, I know you're not really as much, know as much about the fishing, but the town, I was like, man, I'm going to bring my wife here and the kids, and they're going to love it. I actually brought Theo with me on that trip, and I have some pictures here of him and I was going to pull up right here. So we were there. Theo had a great time, and you guys have so many cool things happen. We were at those sand dunes, the Silver Lake sand dunes, which is a pretty cool place to go visit while you're there. It's just, I think it was like 20 minutes away, but tell us a little bit about your area so people can kind of get familiar with it. And I'll also pull up the website here in a minute. We can kind of scroll through and show folks some of the cool places and venues that we're gonna be at.
Yeah, so we are, I would say middle West Michigan, although as of 2023, our photographers in the area would argue that we are officially Northern Michigan. People always argue that's the Michigan argument, where does north start? Well, Muskegon County saw the Northern Lights a dozen times in 2023, so we officially say we're north. There's a lot to do for all ages. One of the things, we love hearing from visitors and we share is it really is kind of a magical place. When you come here, you really can be as adventurous or as relaxed as you want to be, because there's enough for either side of that. So, I mean, just our area specifically, obviously you guys are going to be a little more county-wide for your fishing, and including Muskegon Lake and River. But we just alone have White Lake, White River, Duck Lake, and Lake Michigan. And not only that, but so much access to both of them. Yes, there's homes along the lake, but my goodness, there are so many beaches and
the
parks
beaches here.
and kind of these little hidden gems. It's not hard to not be found, I guess.
Yeah.
We've got parks in here that are absolutely beautiful and well maintained with kayak launches and access to the water and beach. But because there's enough of them, you feel pretty spread out. We've got some busier beaches. Definitely Duck Lake Beach gets slammed in the summertime. But there's definitely some quaint spots to find to have that water access to kayak, boat, fish, just enjoy, honestly. Catch a good sunset. We have a lot of those. And then also for any sort of downtime, even just a quick walk, we have so many trails. We have miles and miles of trails. So where our chamber and visitors bureau sits, we are directly on, we're in Whitehall. We have a Whitehall zip code, but we are right on that border of Montague and Whitehall, just connected by that little bridge connecting, overpassing the White River. And we sit right on a bike path.
This bridge here, is this the one?
Yes. Yeah.
So there's fish under that bridge, guys. That's a little bit, right under the bridge. You can catch them.
We sit right on a bike path. I don't know if anybody just heard that, but that was a snowmobiler going by, because we hear it all winter long when there's snow. There's finally snow, so we're seeing them out.
Nice.
But we're on the Hart Montague bike path, which is starts here. Really, it's 23 miles north up to Hart. But then also if you travel south, we have the White Lake Pathway, which connects into the Berry Junction Trail, which is going to take you to North Muskegon. So you can bike it, walk it. We see people on it all the time. We use it quite a bit ourselves. If you don't bring a bike, luckily we know a guy you can get him from. He'll be talking to him next.
We will.
Truly, there's just, especially in the summer, all year, but especially once May and June hit, people are so excited for the warmer temperatures. There's something going every night. You guys are coming at such a great time of year. There is live music every single night. So if you just want to kick back and relax, every restaurant, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, have live music. And so many of them are really family friendly, including North Grove. North Grove's got pinball machines. So they're actually, and because they have a full menu as well, and they serve alcoholic and non-alcoholic drinks, they're a very family friendly spot as well. But we've got 3 incredible breweries, all of which are family friendly, all of which have live music, including just a lot of our pubs and our restaurants will have live music. And that's something that anyone can enjoy.
Perfect. We're going to have a big party there. So we're going to kick it off, guys, at the opening ceremonies. This is kind of a grainy photo. Sorry, but that's the Montague Band Show. We're going to kick off the opening ceremonies there. We'll have some music, have some games going, some food trucks, drinks. Then we're going to, on Saturday, we'll be before that, which we'll talk to Steve here in a second. On Friday, we're going to be right here at Waterdog Outfitters doing the seminar series. So your seminar, you can see Dr. Mudbug right there. And have some breakfast. You guys can kind of recover from Thursday night's festivities there at the band show and food and drinks. And then we'll be at the Playhouse later, the Playhouse at White Lake for the closing ceremonies, the award show. And that place is really, really nice. I mean, they have a liquor license. You can see that lobby. You're going to be able to have drinks there, continue the party. The party does not end on the Kayak Adventure Series. That is pretty much our mantra. And you can see how nice that place is inside. It's really, really nice. And then the after party over there, like we were just talking about, North Grove Brewer. So it's going to be a fun time. And I cannot wait to just get, my family there because, and that's really what this series is all about, as you know, Stephanie, getting the families there, because if you go on the website and you'll see, we list all the stuff. And thank you so much for helping us with this too, and getting your page just so nice, showing everything about the area. And if you guys scroll down for every single tournament page, it's pretty easy. You can see where everything is happening. It's very well laid out and linked. Here's your recommended lodging and camping, your recommended fishing and kayak retailers, recommended restaurants and bars. So they're all there. Recommended non-fishing activities and sites to see. And again, thank you guys so much for helping us put together a great list of cool just things to do for the entire family. And we will come up with at some point a designated Kayak Adventure Series event, excursion, I should say, on Saturday for the spouses and kids and whoever else, that's coming that is not fishing the event. So maybe we'll talk to you more about that later offline, Stephanie, on what we could do. My wife might look around and start seeing things she might be interested in, but it's going to be a blast. And I cannot thank you guys enough for having us and believing in this, because this has so much potential. It's the first year, but I think already with GoPro and so many big sponsors and so many great people and community supporting us like you guys, it's off to a great start. And can't thank you guys enough. And is there anything else you want to mention before we let you go about us coming up there, or just we'll see you for the party?
We'll see you for the party. I will say just whitelake.org, our website is laid out in such a way that you can really find everything, places to stay, places to eat, things to do. It's all just categorized. So if you just want to know where the trails are, if you just want to know where the outdoor adventures are, it's all categorized. So it's a great spot.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We'll see you there. Wild Whitehall. All right. Yeah, they are great. I'm telling you what, though, guys, I'm serious. Go to these sand dunes. Like, we're literally standing on sand that is higher. See behind Theo, this picture? Those are the tops of full-size trees. The sand is that tall, and they allow you to drive dune buggies around and vehicles. You just have to get those tall flags, and you can rent them while you're there. It's really cool. You can drive them around and just go nuts, and just a fun thing to go see while you're in the area. And they got lots of other stuff, too, that was really cool. But, all right, moving on. We will quickly talk to Steve, I believe is next. And he is from Waterdog Outfitters. He may be in the shop now. Here, let's bring him on in. What's up, Steve?
Hey, how you guys doing? Can you hear me?
We got you good, man. You sound
good
great.
Deal. Yeah, I don't feel so good, but that's all right. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Bummer about that. But we'll hope you get better. We'll keep it quick. But we've already talked about you guys a little bit. And you're right there next to Covell Park, which is where our, festival will be happening with the kayak demos. There's a boat ramp right there. Like I kind of teased earlier, there's even a bridge there that may or may not have some bass underneath it. So you can catch them exactly. You can catch them right in the center of town all the way out to that kind of 1 hour, zone. So tell everyone a little bit. Yeah, there's a map. Pull that up. That's great, guys. Tell everyone just a little bit about Waterdog, and we're going to be there on Friday for the seminar series. We're going to have breakfast there. It's a cool shop. You guys sell everything the anglers would need, so definitely stop into Waterdog while you're there, guys. And a little bit about Waterdog, and then we'll talk to you a little bit about the fishing, because you are also an avid angler and tournament angler. You're not just the owner of a shop that sells e-bikes and all kinds of other stuffs, probably snowshoes and everything. All right.
We stay away from snow.
Stay away from that. Okay,
we're good. We're good. We're good.
Kayaks, Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, as they say that you practice what you preach. One of those things. So I've been angler, kayak or canoe angler since I was 5 years old. So I've been in small watercraft my entire life. I started Waterdog Outfitters 11 years ago. Became one of the largest tournament sponsors in the state over the last 10 years, we'll say. It's just a passion that I absolutely love. We built our new facility. I saw you shared that photo. We built that 2 years ago. So we have a nice 5,000 square foot facility. We have a demo pond off to the side. We have some permanent cornhole boards so people can go out and just kind of have some fun. But we do kayaks and, NuCanoe. I know you had Blake on here. We are a dealer for NuCanoe, and I absolutely love their products. I fish out of an Unlimited. Absolutely love that thing. Put a Newport 180 on one last year, and that was fun.
Oh yeah,
so,
you actually sell a lot of the brands that sponsor the Kayak Adventure Series, because you sell Crescent for sure. I know, of course. You sell NuCanoe, and you do Old Town.
We do Old Town.
Then
and we also this year we are actually picking up Native and Bonafide.
Yeah, Bonafide. That's it. Yeah, Bonafide. That's another.
Which is fantastic. We are a Pelican dealer as well in Perception. So I mean, we do have everything from budget up to your tournament boats kind of on hand. Right now we have, I'm going to say, nearly 200 boats in stock ready to go for the season, which is really nice. And everything from your autopilots, your new EPDLs from Old Town, obviously your Unlimiteds and your F12s and F10s from, NuCanoe. So we're fully stocked and ready to go, and we're excited for this upcoming season. I'm ready for this 20 inches of snow to disappear.
I know, right? I know. We're excited to get up there. And, if you want, we will talk a little bit about the water with you in the area, but I might bring on some anglers first, and then we can kind of all roundtable talk about the water if you're still free. I know you might be working at the shop, but and if you feel under the weather, you just bow out whenever you need to.
Okay, sounds good.
I was going to bring on Paul here, and Jeff from Aggressively Average Anglers. What's up, guys?
What's up, fellas?
What's going on,
gentlemen?
Yeah, not much. Sorry, we got you
it's
split.
been a minute.
Yeah, we got you split there, so you can't hold hands. I know you guys are real close there, but
Right.
you guys check them out. They're at Aggressively Average Anglers, and you guys got a huge following. Like socially, you guys are just doing it. You're knocking out content all the time. And tell us a little bit about your, how you guys started this thing, together, because some people it's just their personal is their brand with but you guys started something that was just different. It was actually Aggressively Average Angler. So tell us a little bit about it, and then we'll get into talking some fishing with Steve here.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for having us on. I normally tell this. Paul, do you want to tell it this time? I tell it like every podcast.
This is like a couple. Like, yeah, you tell us how we met. No, you, honey. You tell us how we
I do
met.
it every time.
It's
Tell us the story.
1,000%. So Jeff and I, we both went to Michigan State. We played rugby together. And then Jeff sort of, after college went out, Virginia, did his own thing, was working, and I did the same thing. Both of us ended up back in the States. And I bought my first kayak. And I was like, man, this is like super fun. And Jeff and I were chit-chatting. He's like, hey, I dusted off some tackle from grandpa back in the day. Like, what am I doing here? And I was like, I'll see you in a couple hours. So I drove up, we smacked some bluegill, we ate them up. And then, ever since then, we were like, hey, maybe we should fish together and start fishing together more often. And then, Jeff, was at the time, he owned a gym, like a CrossFit gym. And everyone was like, hey, you should start filming that stuff. And he's like, no, I don't want to do that. And then it's like, fine, I'll do it. So then started making videos, and then I crept my way in, and then, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years later, whatever it is, we're, dropping 1 to 3 videos a day, depending on what day of the week it is. So it's great though. It's a nice excuse to get out and fish a lot more. And then we get to hang out. So it's like, win, win, win.
Yeah, absolutely. That's cool, man. And you guys are on because you live up there in, Michigan. So if people didn't kind of or know that, I guess I should say that. That's why you guys are on this particular episode. Now, how far away? I know you guys picked up some, because you guys even got, you review lots of different brands, but you guys got into some Crescent Shoalies. I think you picked up from Steve. Is that right? Was it maybe even
2 Shoalies and a light tackle too?
Yeah,
and that light tackle too is about to get the motor treatment too. So
speed up.
Yeah, it's going down.
That's gonna be a fast one. Yeah, that's gonna be
Can't
cool.
wait.
I put a 180 on one, and it is quick. It is very quick.
I cannot wait. I cannot wait.
Awesome.
Yeah. So you guys are how far away from that area? Probably
a couple hours, 3, 4 hours. What is it, right, Jeff?
It was 3. It was like 3:10. It was just over 3.
That's not too bad. Not too bad at all. So, and you guys will be at that event, and I'm not sure if we guys have you down for doing like a seminar or something, but maybe we will. I don't know if we have you down or not, but either way,
if you want an aggressively average seminar, we'll do one for sure.
Yes, that's what I also want to know. Like, where did the aggressively average come from?
It's funny because like we get quite like our following is everyone from like super experienced like tournament guys all the way down to folks who are just getting into trying to fish, and we get questions ranging from like, what's we get saltwater questions, and we get questions from pros who've been fishing 10 times longer than us, and we wanted to just be like really clear that if you ask me a question, you're getting the Paul or Jeff answer, and it's our combined experience, which is not that much. Realistically, it's like 10 years of experience, which is not nothing, and we fish a lot, but like, I'm not a tournament pro, and I don't want someone coming to my channel being like, well, this guy's the best fisherman ever. And I think that's we also wanted to make ourselves accessible to people who are new, who are just getting started. And then we wanted to open the door for ourselves to just like admit that, like, yeah, I've never done this type of fishing before. Like, I kayak fish a whole ton, but I bank fish maybe 20% of the time. And like, it's okay to like acknowledge that you're not a professional, that I'm never going to be a professional, but I really, really enjoy this. And I geek out on all the time. And I love talking about it and doing it. And we just wanted to be really transparent with like who we are and what we do, and sort of, again, open the door to being new to a lot of things. So, there's when someone says, what's the best way to flip pads in Florida? I'm like, go ask someone who's down in Florida. I'll tell you what I know, but it's not me, man. And
so you might enter the micro bag division. You guys might be a candidate to enter that 5 smallest. Yeah, the micro bag.
I'm not even joking. I might.
That's where we excel.
Might be the only thing that I'm getting after. I actually feel confident I can take home the W on that one.
We will see if you get the 25-inch, the Holy Grail bag, the 25-inch bag. So
just watch me go.
That's easy.
You'll be in the lead for the micro bag, and then you'll catch a big bass, but not enough to win anything, and it'll just be aggressively average finish.
It's
We'll
always
throw
an
that sucker
aggressively
out of
average
here.
bag. That's what it's always going to be, and I'm okay with it.
Bro, it's like how many are in the field? We'll be right up the middle. See you
That's
there.
right.
Yeah, exactly.
The other
Right
nice
in
thing
the
about being
middle, so-
aggressively average is we have an aggressively average amount of fun. So I think that's the other thing with us is like when someone's
It's
like, "Hey,
above
do you want to come to a tournament
Yeah.
like this one and or a really competitive one?" Like I'll
Yeah.
compete. Like I'm all about it. But at the same time, like the most important thing for me is that everyone leaves knowing that they were had a shot at being competitive and had a really good time.
time.
Like I'm cool if that's like how it ends up. And I hope that a lot of people that get into these big tournaments, like that should be, especially when you're first getting started, that should be your goal. You want to enjoy it.
Can I put you guys on the spot here? Something
Yeah.
pretty funny I just thought of. So I noticed I was looking at your page, and you guys go check them out. They got a Shopify. You can go buy a merchandise
yeah.
from aggressively average
Yes, here we
anglers,
go.
and I'm sure you guys could bring some of that to sell at the event, which is totally cool. We're open to everything, of course. But here's an idea: why don't we do a giveaway where someone gets one of your products, a free one of your products for the person who finishes dead middle of the pack at
Done.
the tournament. So if there's
I'm down.
200 people,
Done.
whoever is 100th,
Done.
you're aggressively average, and you're going to get the prize from the aggressively average anglers.
I love that.
Absolutely. Done
All right.
deal.
100%.
Absolutely. Whatever you
Perfect.
want.
Perfect. Just building sponsorships.
The
right here in
aggressively
the middle of the show
average
live.
finisher. Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the
The
aggressively
most
average.
aggressively average.
Yeah, you are dead middle of the pack. So
I love that.
there could be some positive to coming in dead middle of. All right, well, you guys want to talk a little bit of fishing in the area, and I can bring in a couple other anglers, and then we can just talk, and you guys can bounce whenever you need to bounce.
Let's do it.
We'll bring in Chris first here from the Michigan Kayak Trail. Chris Cantellwell, what's going on, buddy? How you doing?
How's it going, guys?
Going good, man. Just
good.
talking about this event. We're pretty excited about it, and
Sweet.
excited about the Michigan Kayak Trail, which is doing a joint event along
Correct.
with us. So it's pretty cool series that you guys have going on. And you told me the other day that it's $90 entry fee, which is I'm excited about that because some local clubs it might still be 30 or 40, and yeah, that can be a good payout when you get enough people. But man, you kind of push it up in that 90, and we're talking people that want to double and triple dip into our event, individual division for the KAS and team division, and then your event. There's no doubt in my mind someone's walking away with 5 figures at this tournament.
Oh yeah,
if they could commit to them all. So, but tell us a little bit about the Michigan Kayak Trail, and then we're going to talk some fishing with you.
Yeah, so Michigan Kayak Trail has been around for 6-7 years. I recently took over control of it in 2021. Learning a lot as the TD but MKT, it really is, it's about having fun, putting a focus on our sponsors at each individual event. So we have an event per major sponsor that we have. And, this one, obviously Waterdog Outfitters is going to be our main sponsor as well. And Steve there. So that's really our focus is to try to help the dealers and drive sales and have the events located as close as possible to that kayak dealer or kayak shop. So we can potentially have check-ins and awards and things there and get people in the store, is our big thing. And then, camaraderie too, right? We hang out and have events on Saturdays, and people hang out at the destination locations with their families the following day. As far as payouts too, like we do the $90 mark to kind of keep it affordable, but still be able to have a big payout, right? So how I formulate it and do it, basically, if we hit 35 anglers at an event, first place is taking home $1,500. Okay.
Yep.
And whatever the sponsor has at that day, typically last year was right around with sponsor prizes and the cash payouts. First place was taking basically over $3,000 home with the cash and prizes. And then if they won big bass, then they get that additional payout there too. So
and you'll probably have you're feeling like 100 people just from your event.
Yeah. So White Lake area, I would say, and Steve is awesome. And Waterdog Outfitters is awesome what they do. And White Lake is one of those areas and tournaments that we put on every year. And the people love the area. People love Steve and what he does for the community. So we want to continue to support him because how he supports us.
Exactly.
I can't thank him enough for what he does for us. And
it's a mutual thing.
Yeah, very mutual. Yeah. And I would say, Steve, I think it was not last year, but the year in 2021, when I opened up registration with 110 angler cap for the White Lake tournament, 110 people, it sold out in less than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
To join the tournament. So that's
it's
great. It's
that's
great.
cool.
It's great. So, but yeah, we my focus is, again, the sponsors and the anglers, is the biggest thing. Angler experience too is something I try to focus on, and I'm trying to improve and build every year.
Yeah, this is a perfect fit then, for sure, man. We appreciate you coming on, and we'll bring in one other angler. But I will say, just to remind everyone, especially because you having a joint event happening there, along with our next guest, you guys, the registration starts like today. It opens right now today. It started at 11 a.m. And the first 100 anglers will get a sponsor's prize bag worth $100 worth of products, right, from our sponsor. So if you're already going to enter the Michigan Kayak Trail event, one of those 110 people or whatever 100 that are going to enter it, you have the best chance. Let's face it. The locals always have the best knowledge. They have more time on the water in the area. You have the best chance to win the whole shebang and be on that stage at the Playhouse right there at White Lake, and just the smoke and confetti, whatever going off, and just you have the chance to win better than anyone. So I would be, signing up as soon as possible. We wanted to open up registration for all these events, week by week, starting last week with Shirley Palooza, to give people a lot of time to register, but also so this video can be posted on that tournament page so people can have a preview of the entire event as they just because some people haven't even heard about this yet. So this video will be live, or I guess not live, but there for them to watch. Right. So,
and Drew, I will say too, people are probably wondering, I do not have the registration open for the MKT specific event, but I'm going on vacation. I'm going on vacation tomorrow to try to catch some steelhead up north on the Pure Marquette River, which is actually, I believe, inbound.
I think it is.
Yep.
Nice, nice. No worries. Well, when it gets up, we'll link it on our registration page.
Yep.
So you guys can easily, matter of fact, I can just pull it up right here, and then we'll bring another Steve in. But if you guys look on the registration page, if you can see my screen right now, the Michigan Kayak Trail joint event is right here. And we're actually about to add another joint event because Mr. Steve Kreuger from Topwater is right here. And I believe, yes, he's in the show now. So Steve, you might have to unmute yourself. I'm not sure if you're muted or not. Let's see. See, it says it's not connected. Looks like you're muted, but it says your mic is not connected. You might have to pop out and go back in and try again. But in the meantime, I will tell everyone a little bit. There you go. Now try talking.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
I don't have.
We got you.
Steve, we can
you don't hear us? We can hear you. You don't hear us though? Maybe try going out and coming back in. Pop out and come back in. All right, we'll remove him and then he can come back in. Let's see. You can come back in. I'll message him. And in the meantime, let's talk about some of the water until Steve gets the audio figured out. Let's talk about the water. Between all you guys here, we can start with Chris, and then we'll just work our way around. Let's talk about. Okay, there are, again, I'll bring this back up so we can see. There are 10. This is the event that has the most different rivers and lakes in bounds. So you can see here, as you scroll down the website, you can see the eligible water adventure course map here. So this is kind of where you're going to adventure and explore, but you've got all these lakes and bounds and all these rivers and bounds. And of course, anything that connects to those, that's free flowing, that connects to those. And every one of these, lakes has a sort of a canal, if you will, channel that goes out to the main lake, Michigan proper. So is that, yeah, it's like Michigan. All right. Making sure I was at the right place here. So yeah.
Aren't you in Ohio? It's not that far.
No, I know. I'm not from here originally. So I'm not from here. Give me a break. I just want to make sure.
That's a 1 in 5 shot.
All right. So yeah, 1 in 5 shot. So you can't go past the seaballs there. And if I could change that, you can change that to satellite image and see a little bit better on your own time. But these are all the lakes. These are all the rivers. We're going to highlight some of the smaller, lakes, for example, there were some, here we go. Like one right here. that we've mentioned earlier, Duck Lake, and there's one called Bass Lake that's further north as well. There's Stony Lake. I mean, there's lots of different bodies of water in bounds. So how do you guys think that's going to affect this event? Because when you do events here previously, when you do events, Chris, you don't include all of those waters. So what's that going to do? And I'll bring Tim DeSmit in too, because he knows about the waters. So he'll chat with us. But Chris, you start first, and we'll let Tim chime in with everybody else about this event and the water that's in bounds. What do you think it's going to do for the event?
It's going to open it up. I would say, typically on a single tournament out there, we range from 85 to 95 inches as like a winning bag. Mm-hmm. The lakes are going to have various ranges of spawn going on too, or post spawn or pre spawn. So, depending on what system you're in, you might have active fish on beds. You might have fish that are fry garters. You might, so, as far as smallmouth go. And again, it's kind of 50-50, whether it's smallmouth that win it and largemouth that win it for us. And the same thing on the big bass side, whether it be large or smallmouth. So it's, to put it lightly, it's up in the air, and especially with that many in play, and a lot of the smaller lakes being local to people. Somebody might have a honey hole that they might be able to go and fish and put up 100 inches. So
yeah,
I'm really excited to see what's going to happen with numbers wise.
Yeah, I am too. I think we can hit 100 inches potentially. Tim,
Mm-hmm.
you're former state champ, and tell us a little bit as I bring Steve back in too. Yeah, Steve's in. I think we might have him now. But Tim, you're former state champ. What do you think with the extra 4 hours? We got a 4-hour window on Friday, and then also that full day Saturday. Do you think because we're getting 85 to 95 typically, and now we're going to have potentially 200-300 people? Who knows? I think 100 is definitely possible to win this thing.
Yeah. I feel 100 inches is definitely going to be. It's going to be weather determined too. I mean, some of the places that on like some of the bigger lakes, you can only fish if the wind is right. So that's going to be a determining factor too. Even having those extra few hours the night before. I mean, I'm already thinking about going to a completely different spot from what I'm fishing the next day. But there's so many areas to fish. I can say for sure I have not fished 50% of that water in that area. There's just so many different lakes and rivers that you can fish from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Steve, I think you're in now. Is your audio working?
Hey, how we doing, guys?
Doing good. We got you good. And
it's always a chore for me. For some reason, some of you guys, Tim and Steve, and I don't know if Chris has seen any, but I always have trouble getting audio going for some reason.
Yeah, no worries.
You still get her done though, Steve.
Yeah, you do, man. And you're with the Topwater Kayak series. And for just quickly tell us what that is, just real short synopsis, and then we'll talk about your joint event that we just kind of finalized yesterday, and we're going to add to our tournament page and how it's going to work, because it's a very unique joint event that no other kayak adventure series will have something like this that you're about to tell us about, along with your tell us about your series.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Topwater is a little bit different than a lot of other groups out there. We specialize in weeknight, shorter events, 3 hours. We get to the ramp about 6 o'clock or so, and take off. And we take off about 6 o'clock and fish for 3 hours. Best 5 fish, and usually our divisions are 10 tournaments long. Every other week, some go every week. We had 13 divisions throughout Michigan, Canada, and 2 fall divisions. So we had a lot going on this year. We're looking to grow even more in the next couple of years. We're going to have a nice championship here in April that people qualified for through last year's events. It's great. We have some divisions. Tim is a tournament director for co-director for one of our divisions, and I think they average Tim, 20 people, 25 people per night. Kalamazoo averages about 30. Grand Rapids Roots averages just below 30 on a weeknight. So that's kind of our
Nice.
niche. That's what we do. It's fun. It's competitive. We try to talk as much as we can, smack to each other and pick on each other and pick on Tim as much as we can. And but we have fun. We go to the ramp. We're helping each other get ready. We're talking about game plans. We get off. We're doing the same thing. And I've sat at the ramp for 2 hours at the end of a derby on a weeknight and just hung out with friends. It's our escape, and it's our adult league night that we like to go out and have fun.
Yeah, perfect, man. That's a perfect tie-in to the Kayak Adventure Series. You know, Chris was saying the same thing with his series, so that's awesome. We love having you guys a part of this event. And so let's announce now what we're going to do with your joint event. Do you want to tell them, or do you want me to do it?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So because you're a weeknight sort of series, just a shorter, window of time, we're going to have a joint event with you guys, Topwater, for just Friday only. So if you want to double, triple, quadruple dip, whatever you want to, if you want to enter everything, right, then enter the Topwater series event, and it's just going to be your Friday fishing only. So that's pretty cool. And it just made a lot of sense because that's what you guys are all about. So, and I believe, Chris, you're going to have you might be the whole week, the weekend, the Friday and Saturday for your series, but
Yep.
Cool. So
we're definitely going to open it up for Friday and Saturday. I think that Friday and Saturday. I think that just makes sense. If somebody's out there and they catch a absolute beast, that would suck not having it in their
right. Friday and Saturday. Perfect.
in their bag. So
Friday and Saturday for you guys, and Friday for Topwater. And so moving on maybe to continuing our talks about the water that's in bounds. And so what do you guys think? I don't know. Maybe Steve, Crooks, do you have any thoughts? I mean, you're right there. You're fishing all the time. You're a competitive angler and obviously owner of the shop. But, man, what are some of your initial thoughts on this event in terms of, like, is smallmouth going to dominate or is largemouth? Could it be one with both or a mixed bag? Anything like that you want to touch on?
Yeah, it's pretty tough because our waterways like the White and Muskegon, I mean, you can get a mixed bag out of this lake, and it's like we were saying, it's going to be 100-inch bag to win this thing, or even a little bit bigger, and it could be a mixed bag. It could be, somebody's up fishing the river, and if that shuts down, they head out towards the piers, or they head out deep and they find some fish that nobody's picked on yet. So I'm partial to White and Muskegon. I actually won this tournament 3 years ago with 100. I guess it was a smaller tournament. It was like 60 people, whatever it was, but it was a very, very competitive. Like, there's a lot of good sticks in this area, a lot of good anglers, a lot of good fish. To put up a 5-bag limit with 20 inches each it's not unheard of. I'm excited for it.
Yeah. So maybe we can get the aggressively average anglers guys to go over there. Maybe we can pry you guys to go over there and fish, it's sometime like a month before, a few weeks before, maybe before the off. We don't really have an off limits period. We just have a period of a 2-week window where you're allowed 4 days on the water. So maybe before that period starts, 2 weeks before, maybe you guys get over there, get some content about some of these waterways, and help somebody, finish middle of the pack. So
we'll bother all the 17-inch fish, and then that'll kind of weed them out for you guys.
We'll stir them up for you guys. Twist my arm. We'll go fish a different spot. The funny thing for us is, like, we're not familiar with any of those bodies of water because we fish mostly down where we are. Which is like south middle of the state. So we fish a ton of inland lakes. We fish a river and creeks as much as we possibly can. I mean, we're obviously familiar with the type of water that is, but I would love to get a preview myself and just get a look at it. But I'm going to trust Steve, and I'm probably just going to go wherever the hell Steve said to go, which we also asked him when we were at a shop. We were like, hey, what do we do around here?
But you get the Pear Marquette, but you also get the Grand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Grand all the way.
White.
Yep. You get a lot of it.
You can't go wrong.
You can't miss. Like, if you were just like, okay, I'm gonna fish the river, you're gonna be fine. Like, I'm
gonna have a good day no matter what.
That 100-inch bag is there. You just gotta cast at the right spot. I mean, in those pieces. I mean, I know that that's they are there.
Right. Let me show you guys some. I mean, I was there. I do have some pictures, though. I will show you some few fish I caught. I think it can be one. The largemouth water in White Lake, for example, I just want to give people a little bit of another place to compare it to. The vegetation that was topping out and how it was starting to look, honestly, looked a lot like La Crosse, Wisconsin, some of the largemouthy water at La Crosse. And Whoops, I took it down. All right, there's a big fat largemouth. Yeah, I'm holding it kind of close to the GoPro, but it was still like a nice 18, 19-inch fish, right? It was a big one. And then, of course, some of the more wild places, I've got some real nice ones. It wasn't even hard, really to get out there and find some good fish. Yeah. Which is telling me this is the reason why we're going to this place. Is your people coming to this event are going to catch a ton of numbers of fish. There's no doubt about that. Kind of like lacrosse again, you're going to catch a lot of them. But the size fish here, I think, is average size. I think is going to be bigger than a lacrosse Wisconsin event. So Theo got out there and caught that bass. We were holding it up, showing it to him. That was one of his first fish that he caught, my son. And on his own, I cast that one. But later in the year, he did do his first cast to catch artificial lure and on the Susquehanna River in Towanda, where we'll be for the Fiesta on the Susky for that event. But anyway, the fishing is great everywhere, smallmouth, largemouth. And the talks that I've had with people, I feel some people have said, yeah, it could be one on largemouth because there's 6-7 pounders regularly caught in the area. But then other people said, yeah, but the smallmouth, if you know where to find them, they're 21, 20, 2 inches. Beast. Huge there as well. Though. So
that weather's those river systems, especially when you get that close to where they dump out or where the headwaters are. There are times in June's weird because like in August that water will be like 2 inches deep, but like in June, the week before is going to be telling as to whether you want to be dealing with like super stained and high water. If it's moving fast, you'll see a lot of people start hitting those lakes instead of going to the river.
Yep. Absolutely. So if you want to frog, if you like that, you're a largemouthy kind of guy, you just want to go frogging or kind of flipping and pitching around vegetation, you got it. If you want open water, you got it. If you want, river and creek fishing, you got it as well. And the question I want to ask, Chris, I'll bring this up to you. How do you feel trolling will play? Because the Kayak Adventure Series has a total unique and different rule set that really highlights all styles of kayaks and kayak anglers. We allow 2 rods at one time, so that particularly for when you got that big smallmouth following or any other any species, but smallmouth and shoal bass and Alabama spotted bass in particular, we'll have a second one following it, and you can pitch your other rod back in there and catch the second one, or put the one rod down and forget lose your one that's small to try to catch the big one, or it allows you to troll with 2 rods. So do you guys think that could be a player at this event with the big fish that live in these lakes?
Oh, absolutely. We got, just as you said, with a lot of the bass largemouth vegetation areas, we got a lot of sand flats and you have a lot of opportunity to catch that, stray huge smallmouth on your way to another spot. On top of that, with the motors and being efficient on the water, trolling is a very good technique, so it definitely can come into play, and especially if you're on some post spawners, being able to use that second rod, you could catch that trailing bigger one that was coming up to get it, it's definitely gonna come into play, I think.
Nice. Well, what about the team division? Are you guys excited about the 2-man team division? That's something kind of unique and different. We try to promote camaraderie, which is kind of the theme you guys are seeing here. What do you think about this team division? You think a lot of people are going to be into that here? Is that excite anybody to have somebody to sort of bounce some ideas off and use some strategy with, or maybe ride to it? Like, you guys, Paul, Jeff, you're 3 hours away. It's perfect. Let's ride together. And obviously people are coming from much further than that. So it gives them a chance to ride together and join up and just win another pot of money in that 2-man team division, which is the best 5 from each angler. So anybody want to comment on the team division?
We just did a tournament that was like a larger team tournament at the end of last year. It was 5-person team. It was so much fun, and it made, because we were fishing so far out of our experience, like hilarious
in Alabama,
out of our experience in Alabama.
We don't fish,
but it made game planning a ton of fun. It made strategy for how we were going to split up our teams and how we're going to scout water a lot of fun. And then if you're able to talk and communicate, you get to a point where like, okay, you got these like 4-hour chunks. If your 3 spots are within 30 minutes of each other, all of a sudden it's like, okay, you're going to go check out like Reservoir X. I'm going to go hit this section of river, and you go check out the, one of the big lakes. Somebody sees something, give me a phone. And it just becomes like a totally different event. And the fun factor, anytime you're fishing with somebody that you're comfortable with, and the fun factor is just a little higher. The party's a little more fun. regardless of the outcome. So
right.
yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, especially if you're new into it and if you're like, I don't really know, like, yeah, I have a kayak, maybe I've never done a
Team
tournament
up.
before. Dude, team up. You will not regret. Like, you'll leave being like, I'm ready to do another tournament. I offer that to people all the time.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be fun for sure. You know, I'm not gonna let Tim get out of here without giving us some more juice. He's a former state champ, like I said. So, and he won it out of the Crescent Shoalie, so that was pretty cool. That I was able to design a boat. You're able to win that in.
He's trying to keep his secrets quiet.
Yeah.
Come on.
He's trying. He's
not letting them go.
Tim will tell you where all the 14-inch fish are, and then he'll go the other way.
Yeah,
exactly. Tell me where the fives are.
Wait, you mean all the fish that are eating my micro bag? All right, let's go.
Thank you.
Look, man, it's a competition. You know, I think you're allowed to lie in fishing to other anglers that you're competing with. I think that is totally fair game for sure. But anyway, Tim, I want to know something about lakes versus the rivers, because some people out there feel like this is River Bassin Tournament Trail 2.0, and that everyone that fishes this series is going to be a lot of river anglers, and the rivers, so they may not. But I'm thinking but wait a second, if they feel like most people might be on these river and wild places, doesn't that just open up the lakes to have much less pressure and kind of give the lake guys almost an advantage in some ways? And at this event in particular, you got, 10 or 11 lakes to choose from. So what do you think about the lakes versus the rivers?
So I help direct the Topwater series, and we run tournaments in that area, like Duck Lake, Stony, White, Muskegon, Grand, Mona Lake, all these other lakes. And in a 3-hour tournament, we've almost hit 90 inches quite a few times. And that's just in 3 hours. So, and most of them, like I said, most of them are lakes. We do hit a couple of rivers, but most of it's lakes and stuff. But it's going to be, it's just going to be dependent on the time of year and where the fish are and what stage they are. And each lake is going to be different. And they all fish. You can pretty much look for an area, find it, and actually fish your strength. You don't have to go to a certain lake and be forced to do something you don't want to do. You can go find, what you like to fish, because with that amount of water, it's there. It's everywhere. If you want to fish lakes, you got a good chance of doing whatever you want to do in the lake. You can put up 100 inches in probably several lakes that I know of in that area. So we will have, I didn't release the schedule yet, but we have the Topwater for Lakeshore coming out pretty soon. And it's going to be that area before, probably a couple of tournaments will be before the tournament. So it's a good chance to get on some different water too before that and test it out. So
yeah, and I think Topwater is going to play too, by the way. I was going to say, I was there. Steve, do you remember when that Steve Crooks won that demo? I was there. It was like in May. I want to say, was it May? Late?
Yeah, it was May.
Okay. We had a really, really randomly cold day there, but still the water was warm enough. And I think we chose this exact date, June, the very beginning of June, because that's when, no doubt about it, Topwater will be on, so you can kind of fish whatever you want. But I just wonder too, there's going to be, like Chris was saying, the fish are in all different stages depending on what lake or river you go to. So, but anyway, just want to make sure everyone knows that's one reason why we're going there at that time, because Topwater will be on, and that's going to be a blast catching them on Topwater up there. And I think there could be some fish still down deep somewhere at one of these lakes that are still just unpressured, that people haven't really, like you said, one of you guys said, haven't really tapped into. And 100 inches could be how it's won for sure. Any other kind of closing thoughts, comments on the fishery, the fishing strategy, anything that you guys can think of that we're kind of missing? Again, this is our official preview show, so I want to make sure we hit it all and not miss something on the fishing side of things.
No, I just would like to, I think this is going to be a great event. I'm excited for it. All the collaborative efforts going into it, and seeing Chris here and having Steve involved, and
right.
Steve and Waterdog has been such a big supporter to the kayak community in general, no matter who you are. It's awesome. But come and join us on Topwater on Friday night. Even if you're not familiar with it, you can get a hold of any one of us, Tim, myself, Steve, anybody with Topwater. We have our own scoring app, so it will be scored on Friday through that app. But it's very user-friendly, very easy to use. And if it's something, if you can't make it Saturday and you want to be part of it, come join us on Friday night. It'll be a great time, great way to be part of it. And
I like that hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got this. I missed you last time I was there when I dropped some stuff off for your food drive. But, I had to pick up a hat. You know, every time I walk in the door, I got to get something from you. So
I do have one thing. I do not want Steve Kreuger as a partner, but I will take applications for anyone else.
But I can throw
Nice,
two
Tim.
Nedricks at a time. I can just throw two Neds out there, so I'll be all right.
There it is.
Absolutely. All right. Well, that's good stuff, man. Guys, I appreciate all of you and your time. Thanks again. You know, I think we've covered it all. And the only thing we really didn't talk about was maybe a little bit we touched on it, but I think the part that we could end this on before we let you go is the after party. We've talked about all the fun, and you can't guarantee the fish are going to stay buttoned or you're going to get the big ones or have enough to win, especially not if you're an average, aggressively average angler. But we can guarantee the fun and the party, and that's what the Kayak Adventure Series is all about. When the tournament's over, you can't play defense in the sport. Let it all go, and let's just let loose, have some fun, and head over to a place right across the street from, across the river, I should say, North Grove Brewers. They're going to have the after party location for us. So it's going to be a ton of fun over there. And let's just have a good time at Wild Whitehall. Thanks for coming on. We will see you guys at the event. I think we're going to wrap up now with Billy and Jake, if he's still around. Not sure if he is, but we'll close this up. But thanks, guys. Appreciate your time.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, everyone. Looking forward to it.
All right.
See you
See ya.
guys.
All right, everyone. The last thing, just to remind everyone, don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, all those things. We want to build this channel so that we can get this message out to as many people as we can. So, you guys have anything you want to say as I play music?
Next week, Ozarkana, right? Jake, it's your neck of the
Ozarkana.
woods, man. We're going to preview
I have a lot
Ozarkana.
more to say about that water.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to be the star of the show next week. You and Ryan, and I don't know if we're going to have Brandon on Dust Off Fishing. Maybe he's going to pop in. But got a nice lineup of guests for that show. So we're going to have Ryan from Old Town on. We're going to have the guys from Eco Fishing Shop. It's going to be fun. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff related to that event, just like we did today. So, and we'll start the registration for that one. And I think, again, it's going to be, could we hit 100? I think all these locations could potentially get to 100, which is
I
awesome.
think that in the right conditions, there can be 100 inches of smallmouth. So.
Yep, I think so. So I'm pumped. And, man, I can't think of anything else. Could you guys, Billy, we just end it now. It was a great show. Great show. Thanks for everything. And thanks to all the guests.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good week.
See ya.